And breaking tonight, former FBI Director James Comey facing up to 10 years in prison for allegedly making false statements to Congress. Let's bring in federal litigator and criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj. Vic, great to have you on the show as always. James Comey goes on Instagram. If he was your client, would you let him go on Instagram and talk?
Absolutely not. And if, for instance, one of my clients was forced to do some sort of a public statement, I'll tell you what I wouldn't tell them to do, and that is go out there and make comments on guilt or innocence. He does not know, Trace. Understand that the grand jury proceedings are secret. He doesn't know which witnesses made a deal with the government to come on in and testify against him, what evidence was shown, the order of that evidence, or the quality and character of that evidence. And so what he said is, I'm thumbing my nose at the grand jury process as the head of the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the law enforcement arm of the Department of Justice, who's been accused, ironically, of obstructing justice. He's gone on air to say, you know what, I show no remorse, and that could bite him in the you-know-where.
He's kind of had a history of kind of thumbing his nose at people from the Hillary Clinton announcement. He just kind of goes out there and does his own thing, always has, maybe always will. Andy McCarthy had kind of a different take. He said this, but he said this before the indictment came down. Watch.
These were people who were actually, Trump hand-selected people who looked very hard at this case and tried to make it and decided that they didn't have the case. I think there's a lot of good reasons for that. Perjury case is a very difficult case to bring. So I'm very suspicious that there's nothing there, but obviously they want to please the boss.
He says nothing there. Do you think there is something there, Vic?
Absolutely. The grand jury has spoken here, and I understand that comments can be made before an indictment because we don't know what's within the secret doors and the closed doors of the grand jury.
Right.
You can bet your bottom dollar that this grand jury did not say, hey, let's just take a leap of faith and indict a former FBI director. What they did was they looked at evidence, they listened to compelling cooperation evidence, who pointed the finger, let's say, at Comey, knowing and intentionally lying in front of Congress and obstructing an ongoing investigation. This is not a biased prosecution. Grand jurors are not politicians. They are people that look at the facts of the case, and they have to unanimously come back with what we call a true bill. So I would take issue with the fact that anyone's trying to please the boss here. This is an investigation that's been going on for quite some time.
I want to play a little bit of back and forth. This is in the Senate testimony with James Comey. Watch this, and then we'll get Vic's take.
Your testimony is you've never authorized anyone to leak. And Mr. McCabe, if he says contrary, is not telling the truth. Is that correct?
Again, I'm not going to characterize Andy's testimony, but mine is the same today.
Andrew McCabe said that Comey authorized him to give the information. Comey says, no. Somebody's not telling the truth here, Vic.
Well, we know who's not telling the truth. And what you see with James Comey is very clearly the ego gets out of control. Sometimes people in positions of power believe that they are untouchable. And no matter what happened regarding the evidence, we can see, even by James Comey, an indicted felon's alleged felon statement today, he is thumbing his nose at this. He believes he cannot be touched, and he is putting himself in a box, Trace. What he's saying is there's only one way to end this story. That's a trial, and that's going to be in front of a jury. And I'll tell you, if he is convicted, a sentencing judge is going to look at Exhibit A by the prosecutors, which is his complete denial and lack of remorse, and that is a sentencing factor.
Wow. Vic, great to have you on. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.